How to learn anything fast and actually remember it. Be honest, at some point you've probably dreamed about instantly learning anything, like snapping your fingers and just knowing it. Maybe you wanted to pull off a perfect backflip to impress your classmates, or master a song on the guitar overnight. Whatever it was, the goal was simple: to be the person everyone noticed. Now, as we get older, our learning goals shift. Instead of party tricks, we want skills that actually improve our lives. Things like business, coding, languages, or even sports. But here's the catch. Most of us are terrible at learning efficiently. And honestly, it's not our fault. Schools taught us to memorize facts for a test, then forget them the moment we walked out of the classroom. But memorization isn't real learning. Learning is about understanding, applying, and retaining information so well that it becomes second nature. Think back to the last time you tried learning something new. Maybe it was a language, an instrument, or even coding. What did you do? If you're like most people, you crammed. You read endlessly, watched tutorial after tutorial, and still, nothing stuck. Why? Because most of us focus too much on consuming information. Reading, watching, listening, when we should be focusing on doing, practicing, and teaching. It's like trying to learn to swim by reading a book about swimming. You might know the theory, but the moment you hit the water, you're sinking. Learning is a contact sport. You have to get your hands dirty, or, in this case, wet. But before we dive deeper, here's something important. Not everything is equally valuable to learn. That's where the 80-20 rule comes in. This principle states that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. So, when learning a new skill, focus on the fundamentals that give you the biggest return. Want to learn a new language? Don't waste time memorizing thousands of words. Just focus on the most commonly used 1,000, and you'll already understand 80% of everyday conversations. Want to play guitar? Master the basic chords before jumping into complex solos. Once you have the essentials down, everything else becomes easier. One of the best ways to make learning stick is through active recall. Instead of passively reviewing notes, actively test yourself. If you're studying history, don't just reread a chapter. Close the book and try to recall what you just learned. This forces your brain to work harder, strengthening your memory like lifting weights for your mind. But here's the thing. Cramming might feel productive in the moment, but it's a short-term fix. If you actually want to retain information long-term, use the spacing effect. Instead of one massive study session, break it up over time, like 30 to 60 minutes a day throughout the week. This forces your brain to repeatedly access the information, reinforcing it, like carving a path through a dense forest. The more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. Of course, studying smart is only part of the equation. If you really want to learn faster, you need to practice. But not just any kind of practice. You need deliberate practice. That means focusing on what you're bad at, not just repeating what you already know. It's uncomfortable, sure, but that's where real growth happens. Let's say you're learning to draw. Instead of sketching the same thing over and over, challenge yourself with what's hardest, like hands, faces, or perspective. It might be frustrating at first, but you'll improve way faster. And here's something most people overlook. One of the best ways to learn something is to teach it. It sounds counterintuitive. How can you teach something you don't fully understand? But that's the point. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts, explain things clearly, and identify gaps in your knowledge. You don't even need an audience, just record yourself explaining a concept, like you're making a YouTube video. Knowing others might watch will push you to truly understand the topic. Lastly, engage more of your senses. Your brain loves variety, and the more senses you use when learning, the better you'll retain information. If you're studying, don't just read. Speak out loud, write things down, and even act things out if it helps. The more ways you interact with information, the deeper it sticks. At the end of the day, learning is a skill in itself. If you approach it the right way, by focusing on high-impact concepts, using active recall, spreading out your study sessions, and actually practicing what you learn, you'll be amazed at how much faster and more effectively you can pick up new skills. So, whatever it is you've been wanting to learn, now you know how to do it smarter. The question is, what are you going to master next? If you found this helpful and want more strategies to level up your skills, make sure to subscribe to No Handouts. Just work for more content like this. Now, go put these techniques into action. Your future self will thank you.